You make this movie called Star Wars in 1977, and instead of taking a writing and directing fee, you say, you know what, I'll take 40% of the merchandising rights. How'd that work out, by the way? And the studio's like, Star Wars, who's going to buy a Luke Skywalker doll for Christmas? That's crazy. Go ahead. Why did you make that decision? Did you have any idea what a terrific decision that was?
Well, not at the time. I've been given a lot more credit than is due. What I did was, I've always been very independent, and I believe in myself, but not recklessly.
Right.
So what happened was, when I got the deal to do Star Wars, American Graffiti hadn't come out yet, and it was just a 2-page deal memo. And it basically said how much profits I would get, what I would get paid, which was not very much, like $50,000. And it was of the percentage was of the net, which, as anybody in the film business knows, that means you're not getting anything. So when we came to actually do the contract, which was like a year later, American Graffiti come out. It'd been one of the most successful films of all time. Suddenly I was in huge demand, and they said, oh my gosh, he's going to ask for $1.5 million, which today would be like asking for 20. And, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I went in and I said, look, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to respect the contract I signed. The deal memo still stands. I'm not changing my salary. But what I am going to do is, instead of you giving me a boilerplate contract of 180 pages and then fill in the blanks, I'm going to give you a contract of 180 pages, and we'll fill in the blanks on the deal memo. And that's basically what I did. And what I did was, I took everything that wasn't nailed down
right
in that contract that was in there. I did insist on sequel rights, because I started out to write one movie. It turned into 3 movies. And everything that they did, the studio did, and everything I did as a filmmaker was predicated on the fact it was going to be a turkey, wasn't going to make any money, and was going to be worthless. So I wanted to get these other 2 movies made, because I wanted to make the movies. So I knew that if the movie if it failed, which the chances were, 9 out of 10 that it would fail, that I would control the next ones, and I could still somehow, by hook or by crook or by some way, get them made. Because that was my purpose, was to get them made.
So it was more of an artistic decision than a business decision?
Yeah, it was purely, I just want to get these movies made. I don't care if they make money. I don't care whatever. I just want to make sure I have control over them so I can make it. The other part was the licensing part. There was no licensing in those days. I mean, no matter what it is, there was no licensing. Maybe a little bit on television. But the thing you got to remember in toys especially, it takes as long to make a toy as it does to make a movie.
Right.
So it takes a year, costs, tens of millions of dollars to do it. So if a movie comes out and is out for a month, a toy company is not going to invest in that. It's just not out long as. So that's why they would do television shows if television shows were incredibly successful and they were out for a long time, but they didn't do anything. I mean, they do little tiny things. Mostly it was a T-shirt and poster business.
Right.
I wanted it because I felt that Fox probably wouldn't advertise the movie. So what I was doing is, which had never been done before, we went to all of the science fiction conventions, all of the Comic-Con, everything we could go to, and we gave out T-shirts and posters to all the kids. And this was like 2 years before the movie came out. So for the whole run up until the movie came out, we were doing what now they do on the internet, only we were doing it actually going to places.
I think you can take some credit for that, by the way. That doesn't sound totally accidental to me.
Well, ultimately, we finally made a deal with a toy company and who saw the potential here. But we made the deal like a week before the movie came out. And it was still a year before they actually made toys. But we convinced them, and they talked about, making little action figures, which had never been done before.
Yeah.
And Kenner was very forward thinking. There were some people there that really saw that you could actually do this, because no other toy company really saw it. So it wasn't it was actually, we had to create the whole medium of licensing for toys for movies.